What's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrifice my time so you don't have to. Now, I'm not breaking any new ground by telling you guys this, but no one really gives a shit about Tye Dillinger. No one gives a shit about Shawn Spears. But, when used accordingly, anybody can get over. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what your former gimmick was. If you're used appropriately, doesn't matter what company you are in, you will get over. I wish most fans will understand this whenever taking into account star power. And more importantly, when talking about booking on any given show, whether you're talking about AEW or WWE, there's a reason why I always focus so much on the story-driven stuff or on the character aspect. Because it's those two things that are going to make people, those are the two things that are going to make you memorable. Those are the two things that are going to linger in the person's mind whenever they think about you in any regards. And then you can focus on the wrestling, because the wrestling is just the end all be all. And that's just the crux to kind of put you over the top for most wrestling fans, right? Especially if you have something that's entangled with your gimmick and not just having random moves for the sake of having random moves. So Shawn Spears, Tye Dillinger, however you like to refer to him, the perfect 10, the perfect jobber, I don't know. He just returned to NXT tonight, as of this recording. Obviously, look at the date. Stop being a dumbass bitch before you take anything out of context. And I personally don't really give a shit, but at the same time, I'm looking at Tye Dillinger and him being in NXT, and it just ran through my mind, especially what's going to happen in a couple of weeks when Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné and rumored Kazuchika, Ashika, I don't know his name, is going to return, or not return, but debut in AEW. Did it not just hit anybody like a fucking ton of bricks seeing Shawn Spears on NXT tonight and just saying to yourself, man, holy shit, never mind the aspect of whether or not he feels like a big star to you, but this guy once was one of the top priorities in AEW when they were first starting up in 2019. And he's in NXT. Like, again, I'm not trying to, like, you know, little bro fucking Shawn Spears or anything like that, but it just hit me. It's like, damn, the guy that's on the so-called third brand was one of your top priorities at one point. And it really just tells you, it just hits you again like a fucking wall, like a fucking OnlyFans model at 35 years old. It just hits you like a fucking wall. Holy shit, Tony Khan, you actually try to utilize Shawn Spears as a top talent at one point. Not a knock on Shawn Spears, but Shawn fucking Spears was a top priority at one point. And then you see all the stuff that happens with people, like, for an example, like Jade Cargill, who gets pushed to the side to the extent that she comes to WWE, and now she has to retrain almost everything that she fucking knows. And it's like, it's not as if we haven't known this for a while, but again, it just hits you so hard nowadays that Tony Khan, you really only bring WWE stars, or any known talent for that matter, just to get a pop. Is that how you actually book things? Like, can you imagine? That's almost living like paycheck to paycheck when you actually think about it. For most wrestling fans, can you imagine actually, like, I'll put a hypothetical for you guys out there, because this is the only way I can relate to you. Can you imagine, for an example, playing general manager mode? You get contracts. You have week-to-week contracts. You have 5-week contracts, which is about a month, obviously. You have 3 months, and you have a year. I think those are the, if I remember correctly, those are the choices you could pick from as far as trying to sign a superstar. Can you imagine going out of your fucking way to just start a whole new brand outright? And they don't give you that option in general manager mode, but just imagine, like, you starting your whole new fed, for an example, in general manager mode, right? And one of your first things that you do, and mind you, you're a billionaire, one of the first things you do to sign from the free agent pool is to sign someone like a fucking Tye Dillinger for a goddamn year. That's what you're gonna do. You have you have an unlimited source of whatever, and you go to the free agent pool and you sign Ty Dillinger for a year, and then you do nothing with him. Nothing with him. You literally only signed him because his popularity at that point in time was a 75 compared to your CAWs who are around 30s and 40s and shit like that. And you signed him because you wanted to put him on the card to help booster your fucking card. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You signed him to your card and he boosted up your ratings, right? But the majority of your other superstars, they're still under 40s. They're still under 30s. Yet you brought Shawn Spears in for a bigger contract with 75, while everybody else in the other shows are like 90 popularities. Why did you bring Shawn Spears in if that was going to be the point of what you're going to use him for? Never to use him again. Never to use him again. And mind you, you had other superstars for him to work with, like a Cody Rhodes, who popularity at the time was probably around the same thing, right? But you brought him in, you used him, and then you stopped using him, and then he went back to WWE, and it's like, you brought a man for one thing and one thing only. Is that how you fucking book? Is that how you would book your general manager, guys? You bring in just random free agents for a year and just never use them ever again on the television after they pop the number for you? Isn't that kind of like a waste of your resources? Right? Do you hire talent from the free agent pool in order to pop a number? At the very least, you probably at least use them to boost up the other popularity of your other superstars by having him job multiple times. At the very least. Can't even do that. It just comes right back to the whole point of what I'm talking about right now as far as the discussion and the main idea. It's like, Tony, it just dawned on me like a fucking light. Honestly, I mean, it's always lingered inside there, obviously, but it really just hits you for real, for real. You don't know how to make talent. Like, he really, really doesn't know how to make talent. Look at MJF right now. He's about the only one that he actually fucking made for real, for real. And look how many times he did the backseat to everybody. Go look at my World's End pay-per-view review and look at the thumbnail for that, and you'll see what I mean in regards to what I say. He takes a backseat to everybody. Look at someone, for an example, like a Warlow, who just cut the promo of his life, essentially telling Tony to stop fucking burying him and give him a chance. Because right now, Warlow should be their Goldberg. He should be their Brock Lesnar. But no. Because he was too busy focusing on prior WWE talent who, quite frankly, and I love those WWE talents, if you're not going to use them to bolster up your fucking roster like you should have used with Shawn Spears, for an example, when you first started up your company, then you wouldn't really be in this position. If you didn't have those talents at least working with the AEW talent, the actual, and I mean throughout the card, not just an MJF, for an example, but the actual talent throughout the card, you wouldn't be in this position right now. Think about it for an example. The only homegrown talent that he has currently on the roster right now that's actually flourishing is Hangman Adam Page. Swerve is a product of WWE. People forget that. Now, granted, he's getting his biggest push from AEW. And maybe, eventually as years go on, people will align him with AEW. But make no mistake about it, Swerve Strickland is a product of WWE, in particular NXT. People don't talk about that, but that happens to be the case. I look at the actual talent right now, and I look at the roster currently at the moment. The only one who has at least somewhat of a name that's somewhat prominent on AEW, and even then, because they never prioritized their world championships, he's not really given that much light to shine. It's Hangman Adam Page, one of the worst world champions that company has ever seen. Honestly. You look at the tag team scene. You got Sting, who's the biggest draw of your tag team scene going into your pay-per-view right now. That's the biggest draw. It's Sting. As a matter of fact, let's do that in real time really quick. Let's look at the pay-per-view card for Revolution, which, by the way, I will be reviewing that show this upcoming Sunday. Thought it was Saturday. Took the wrong day off. I'm a fucking moron. I hate my life, by the way. Just throwing it out there, guys. AEW, WWE, I don't give a shit who it is. Can you fucking losers just keep one day. Keep one day when you actually work your fucking shows. God damn it. But look at this card for an example. Look at this card. You have... God almighty. What a... Jeez. Okay. So you have probably the only... And look how much of a joke this is. The only match on the entire card that you can... And even then, Lance Archer isn't what I would necessarily call an AEW talent per se. He's a product of New Japan Pro Wrestling. But let's just use... I'll be charitable and I'll say Lance Archer. The only match on this entire card that you could say is actually AEW relevant homegrown talent is a match called Meat Fucking Madness, involving Powerhouse Hobbs, Warlord, the guy who's got the promo of his life involved in this bullshit, and Lance Archer. Then you go to the next match. FTR, Jon Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose, Claudio Castagnoli, the former Cesaro, in a tag team match. Christian versus Daniel Garcia. Will Ospreay, a product of New Japan Pro Wrestling, versus Konosuke Takeshita. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. Obviously Daniel Bryan. Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. NXT Roderick Strong with the Undisputed Era. Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo. Again, Toni is making a name for herself in AEW, but let's not forget she came from WWE in particular. Now again, she will align herself formidably with the AEW brand, but she's not a homegrown talent. Tag team match, we went over this already. Sting's in that match. And then the main event, Heyman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, and Samoa Joe. Which is ironic because from the rumors that I'm hearing, Heyman, he might not even be in this triple threat match. So it's Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland. Neither one of them are AEW homegrown talents. All I'm saying is, and I don't have a problem with utilizing WWE talent. I don't have a problem with utilizing TNA talent. I don't have a problem with utilizing certain other talents from different companies if it means, again, bolstering up your roster. But there does come a time where you shouldn't be using WWE talent or any other talent for that matter in order to live paycheck to paycheck. They have to have a reason to be on television. They have to have a reason in order to pay them money. You did not just spend $1 million to try to get to 800,000 fucking views, right? Because, I mean, at the very least, I would at least say to myself, well, okay, at least you got 1 million views out of it consistently, not just one time. Shit, you haven't even got 1 million views in over a year. Like, it's just a waste of money how you're actually trying to placate some of the talents, right? You have Sasha Banks coming in, Mercedes Moné. You have fucking Gohan coming in, right? Okay, so how are you going to use them? Because certainly you didn't bring them in just for the big business show in order to pop a rating, right? Because I'm pretty sure that, I would fucking hope that that show would actually do some big numbers, at least relevant to AEW. I would at least expect that 1 million viewpoint to actually dry up, right? Because you've been in the drought for a while now. You've been in the drought. I would expect for Sasha and for fucking Piccolo to like at least bring in 1 million views. But then what afterwards? What are you going to do with fucking Krillin? What is he going to do in any of his world championship matches going forward? Because I would presume, considering that people call him the John Cena, or actually I heard him say Randy Orton, but one of the biggest stars in New Japan Pro Wrestling in the past, 15 to 20 years? What are you going to do with him in AEW? I don't give a shit about him. Your Mark fans might give a shit about him, but I don't give a shit about him. What are you going to do with him in AEW? I'm curious. Are you going to make him a star? Make him relevant? More relevant than when he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling? Same thing can be said about fucking Mercedes. Okay, she goes into the women's division. Is she immediately going to be a top priority? What are you going to do with Mercedes within the women's division? I'm very curious. It's not just living paycheck to paycheck. You didn't just bring them in to pop a number for your fucking March show, right? But then that just brings in everything overall going forward when looking at AEW. Because again, this is a prevalent problem. I would hope going forward you will now start focusing on character development and actually having the people that rely inside or who lie inside your company to start being a little bit more connective with your fans. It's not just the sake of going out there and every fucking opening match happens to be some bloody fucking match. It's not going out there and in the end of the day having these girls and guys go out there and bump for like 5 fucking goddamn hours to do absolutely nothing on your pay-per-view shows, and then you come out the next week and you have no cliffhanger to get me to really want to watch the Dynamites or the Collisions of the world. Because here's the thing, no matter how many people in the Wrestling Observer newsletter tell you that Dynamite is one of the best shows of the week, Collision is one of the best shows of the week, those are marks. Those are people who are going to be there through thick and thin no matter what. In the end of the day, it's the people who are actually going to be paying attention to your show that you need in order to pay these talents to be more. because I think people don't understand this, and I see them say this all the time as far as, why do you care about the casual fans? Now, never mind the whole point of what I say all the time as far as me having my own metric, but also as far as the wrestlers is concerned, I would assume that you would want that to be the case also, so you want your television show to stay afloat. Am I right? It's not stretching. It's not a reach. It's nothing like that to say that you would like to see the casual fans actually be the metric, not just for your own opinion to be backed, right? But also, well, I mean, I would hope that the casual audience would be the ones to keep you afloat, because they're the ones who are going to be more meaningful. They're the new kids on the block. They're the ones who you want to bring in to kind of convert to being actual AEW fans versus the fans that you already have currently at the moment, who clearly aren't doing anything for you right now at the moment, except, I don't know, kind of making you stagnant. Is that going to help you when it comes to your licensing? But hey, who am I? Who am I but a lowly being? Who am I but the lowly smart who just looks at his surroundings and says, there's a problem going on here. Is anybody going to look at or what's going on around us? But everybody's just looking straight forward and telling me to look straight forward. Okay, fine, I'll look straight forward. But when that time comes, when everything starts to fall around you, let's not pretend we're being NPCs here, okay? It's not as if I didn't look around and say, hey guys, there's a problem going on here. That's all on you guys in the end of the day. AEW fanboys, you love your company so much. Maybe, just maybe, look around and see your surroundings. Because the point in time when it comes to having someone like a Ty Dillinger as a priority at one point, to them leaving your company, your main roster, for an example, to show up in NXT, that's a bad look. That's a bad image. Just saying. You brought him in for one thing, and then he left your main show to go debut in the third branded show on WWE. Someone like a Jade Cargill, who you had as your fucking longest reigning women's champion, period, in that company's history. One of your longest reigning champions in general, who's been reduced to nothing more now than a retrainee in WWE. Again, I'm just noticing the walls. That's all I'm doing. I'm just noticing the walls. As always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. Deuces, P. Eyes.